Hi all, welcome in next video of WebAPI. So in the last video we had created a JWT token process, like how can we create a JWT token for our APIs for the authorization purpose. We also have seen like how to validate our user, how are we storing user details in our CRM user detail table in the Oracle, and how we are reading the details, and how after reading and verifying the details how we are creating the JWT token. Okay, so on the next part we have to discuss like if we have already JWT token available, like we have created a JWT token for our APIs with some application configuration detail and user detail. So how can we use that JWT token for our API calling purpose? Okay, and how can we create the our API make available for the authorization? Okay, so in this video we are going to discuss about JWT token validation, authorization middleware configuration, and also middleware Swagger middleware updation. Okay, like we already have implemented a Swagger in our API, like we are able to consume Swagger services, but that is not currently accepting the authorization token. So that we need to configure and make sure like our API is also coming with uh, bearer token. Okay, so like in this we are going to learn JWT token configuration. Okay, how can we use the authorized attribute for our APIs, what are the authorization attribute, and configuration of authorization middleware, configuration of Swagger middleware, and reading configuration details from the app setting. Okay, so like for the creating the token, we also are reading configuration details from the like appsetting.json. So like see when we are reading the details from the configuration, so we are reading details from the configuration for creating the JWT token. Okay, but when we are using authorization attribute and we are going to authorize the API, on that case we are like using these keys and configuration in our middleware like inside the app startup.cs. Okay, so whenever we are validating, we are reading the configuration details from the startup.cs. When we are creating the token, we are reading the configuration details from appsetting.json. Okay, so appsetting.json is basically a configuration file with which may be a different in different development environment. Okay, like if we are working in development like dev environment, so in that case like we are using application json, like appsetting.json file directly. Okay, when we are working on a staging environment, like for any development environment, there might be some different environment for the testing, for the production, and for the integration. Okay, so like if we are using staging environment, so there could be some different app setting.json staging. Okay, we are using UAT environment, so there could be a different app setting.json for the UAT. If we are on a production, so definitely there could be a different um, app setting.json in a production. Okay, so that we already have discussed. So like here for the creating of a token, we have worked in these files. Okay, crm valid user, we created new table, we used controller authorization controller, we created two new interfaces, two new classes, and two new entities like request and response, and we also put the configuration in appsetting.json. Okay, so the next, for the validation purpose, we need to basically work on the controller part and the startup.cs. Okay, so basically startup.cs is used for configuring the middleware. Okay, so I just want to tell you, I already configured this validation things in my testing API so that I can quickly explain you and do the implementation without wasting a much of time. Okay, so I separated out the steps what I followed here. Okay, so I'm just showing you quickly, then we will be implementing in our CRMS API. Okay, and before going ahead, I just wanted to show you like how it is how it is reflecting after making the changes, because I already implemented in test API, so I can run that API and can show you what are the changes are being reflected. Okay, so let's firstly see how does it look. Okay, so here you can see this is our test API. So earlier this is our authorization controller methods controller, this is our user controller. Okay, so earlier our API was not containing this authorization button. Okay, so what this authorization button is doing, this authorization button is taking a barrier token which we are getting from our um, create user token API, and after putting this API barrier token, we can like call our APIs with the barrier token. So let's run it again and show you properly so that you can better understand. So let's see if our, yeah, this is there. So let me run it first. Okay, so this is coming in this way, but if you run our API, so you would be able to see, like I'll show you that also. So you won't be able to see this authorized button. I made the changes in Swagger middleware, and then only this authorized button is appearing. So you can see here the lock is not at closed, means there is no barrier token provided here. Okay, so what we need to do, firstly we need to extract the barrier token after doing the validation. Okay, and then put after putting this validation, after putting this barrier token, we only able to access our APIs. We are, because currently these API are restricted with the authorization attribute, and whenever we are using the authorization attribute, authorization and authentication is mandatory for that APIs. Without authorization, like without using some authorization mechanism, we cannot get into the API. Okay, so let's see how does it work. So I also had created this API in last video, get user token. So what we are doing in this API, we are giving some email and password, and after that we are getting a user token, like bearer token. So let's try it out, because this API is not asking for the uh, bearer token, because we did not use authorization attribute in this API. Okay, so let's put some details. SS at the rate. Okay, before that, I just want to show you how the error is coming. What are the error coming if we are not using a bearer token? Like this API is containing authorization keyword. Okay, so try it out. Put one. Bearer token is not provided. You can see here. So just click here, execute, and see what is happening. You can see the error 401 undocumented. You can say unauthorized also. Okay, so this is giving an error, this is not giving us the response, because this is using the authorization attribute, and after miss it in this API is like secured by the JWT authorization. Okay, so it is mandatory to provide a bearer token for this API to get the access. Okay, so you can see there is no detail is coming, and we are getting a error code here, and the error is saying like bearer token authenticate by bearer token. Okay, so let's do it in proper way. Like if we already getting the bearer token, so how can we run this API? So we were putting some details here, not at given. So let's try it out again. ss at the rate gmail.com. Okay, 93. So this is already registered user detail. So let's run it. Okay, so we got our bearer token. So let's copy this token, control C, user validated successfully. Okay, put here in authorization, control B, and log this authorize. Okay, close. Now this is logged. Okay, now run our API. Close this controller. Run our user controller, which is using authorization attribute. Okay, so let's try it out. Put one, execute. You can see response is coming and the code is success 200. You can see response is coming properly and it is successful. Okay, so I think you got it what we are doing here. Like if we have secured our API with the JWT token, so until we don't get the JWT token, we are not like providing a JWT token to our APIs. API won't be give the any response to the caller or to the client. Okay, so it is mandatory to provide the proper bearer token which has been created by the same application details and same configuration details. Okay, and also a same user details. If some different user is calling the same, so it won't be working. Okay, so let me show you with some. Okay, so that's been authorized because we already have passed proper bearer token here. So let's see how we implemented this mechanism in our test API. So one by one we are going to discuss for our CRM API. So firstly we need to make the changes in startup.cs for updating the middleware for the authorization. Okay, so for that this some references are required, so we will be updating that. Creating a middleware authorization middleware. Okay, service.add services.add authentication. So this middleware configuration is required. So firstly we need to do this create this middleware authorization, and then this inject this middleware into the request pipeline here, like app.use authorization, app.use authentication. Okay, so these three things. Then fourth is add authorization attribute to the controller. So for whichever API you wanted to make the this security, so on that API you need to use the this authorized keyword. So this is called authorized attribute. Okay, so authorized attribute is basically responsible for providing the security for the APIs. So whenever you are not using this authorized keyword for the APIs, so those API will not be requesting any bearer token. Like without bearer token, you can call those APIs. But if you are using this authorized keyword, you need to provide the bearer token. Like firstly, you need to do the authentication, authorization, then you can go ahead for like getting the details from the API. Okay. So this authorized attribute we need to use, and this is the Swagger middleware configuration. Okay, so this also we need to update. So earlier we had this open the last line, you can see some test API details. Like we had configured our Swagger, like it has been already configured in our API whenever we created, because it is already containing in .NET Core 5.0. So for the accepting the bearer token, we need to make these changes so that we can like that attribute, like that authorized button enabled, so that we can put the bearer token and send that bearer token to the APIs, so that APIs can read those bearer token and authenticate, and after that get like provide us the response. Okay, so like after using this configuration, this authorized button will be appearing. So let's see on next. So earlier it was giving this error. After we like provided the bearer token, the response is coming properly. Okay, so let's start one by one. So let's stop with this API. Go to the CRM API. Okay, so this API is already running. So let's run and show you, like there is no authorized thing or there thing is there. So this is very essential actually. You should understand this in a proper way, proper configuration, what we did and why we did and what we write for everywhere. Okay, so that you can read, like it's readable, and you can understand what the things we are doing. So you can see here there is no authorized button, means there is no authorized configuration have been done here for this API. Okay, so that we need to do. Okay, so let's start. So we have authorization controller, so we are getting the token here from here, so that's been implemented in last video. So let's continue for validation, JWT token validation configuration. Okay, so what the first thing was there, updating these references. So let's copy these references on test API. Let's go up and these three references we need to update. So this is not the big thing, so you can do this. If you're not updating, that will automatically get updated once you are doing the implementation. So we need to download it, I think, for this. Okay, so unnecessary me because it's not being used here. Let's go ahead for second thing, creating middleware for authorization. Okay, so let's update it for the authorization middleware. So I will explain you what are the configuration we updated. So this authentication middleware be injected here. So what is happening inside here? So I told you already, like whenever we need to create the JWT token, we are putting the detail inside the appsetting.json here, this detail. So whenever we are creating the JWT token, details are coming from here. Okay, so in this case also, like whatever the details we are reading for this API, these details are getting read from appsetting.json. Okay, so right now for this API, both configuration place is same, like appsetting.json. So there is no chance of getting failed in case in perspective of configuration, because the same configuration is being read for creating the JWT token and being read for validating the JWT token. Okay, but what happens, like these tokens, it is not mandatory to like this consume this token inside the same API. Whenever any external client is calling us, like we are exposing this our API to the any like Zomato. Okay, so Zomato is calling our get user detail API. Okay, so Zomato has to update this configuration in their API solution. Okay, so that Zomato can read the same configuration which we configured in our API. Otherwise, if the configuration is not matching, there could not be any validation. Okay, no validation won't happening properly. Like we will be getting the barrier token in that case also, but barrier token won't be validated. So that we need to ensure, whatever is our audience, whatever is our issuer, whatever is our key, and whatever is our encoding mechanism, all the things has to be a same for creating and for validating the JWT token. Okay, if you are making any changes, like mistakenly you added this is my CRM API, so mistakenly you added this you removed CRM API J, like you just added S APIs. Okay, so only just if you making the one S, it will not be validating properly, because key has been changed or audience has been changed, issuer has been changed, anyone has been changed, so it will not be accepting the token. So that we need to make sure, like we are uh, getting the same configuration and sending the same configuration for the third party. So what is happening, making changes here, be add authentication middleware here. Okay, we configured some configuration here. You can see required metadata token is true. You can see here service like save token, so it will it can also save the token. Like token can be saved, so that put this key, and these are the token validation parameters. So we created the request here. Okay, and later on we are all the parameters are updating here. So validate is user is equals to validate audience. Like we need to validate the issuer, we need to validate the audience. So what is the audience, what is the issuer, we need to pass here. So if we are making it true, so we need to pass the issuer, like here. If we are making the audience to validate audience, so we need to pass the audience key here. Okay, and if issue a sign key, we also need to pass. So this encoding mechanism we also need to like make sure this is the same, like UTF-8 is being used, not any other encoding mechanism. So this issuer sign in key, validate user, issuer, validate audience, so that we need to make sure are same. Okay, so after putting this, this authentication configuration, like after creating this authentication middleware, we need to inject this in our services configuration. Okay, so we just injected app dot use authentication. Authorization was already there, but it won't be working because there was no authentication mechanism was provided earlier. Okay, so that we need to, so basically we need to give the most of the updates in startup.cs. So firstly let's inject this let's create this middleware configuration firstly for the authentication. So let's go to the crms api. This is bl, sorry. So mistakenly I put this here, that okay, that is not required actually. Okay, so we need to update the things in add controllers. So after this we can put control v services dot add authentication. Okay, so that configuration references we also need to take. So we need to have these three references here. So these three references. Okay, let's see. We need to download the package, I think. This Jwt is not coming. Yeah, Microsoft that we need to find and install from the package manager. So let's find it and install. Browse. Okay, this is there. Install it. Okay, so this uh, dependency has been installed properly. Let's go to starter.cs. So this configuration is already there. So let's update the key name because the name is here different. V, and what is the name here? Control V. Okay, Control S. So configuration key is also updated. We also install this dependency. So here you can see our middleware authentication middleware have been configured properly. Okay, so we also have already read this configuration earlier for creating the token. So the same way we are reading here, like we injected the config. This has been injected already. So we just need to read the configuration attribute and the key we need to pass, which we wanted to read from the appsetting.json, and the same key is present here in appsetting.json. So that will comes what is appsetting. This is different one. Okay, this one is our appsetting.json. So you can see here the development environment here. See, I was not supposing this was the different one. Okay, so app setting is there. So there is a development app setting.json. Okay, in case if we put we are in like staging environment, we are in UAT environment, we are in production environment. So app setting JSON like can be a different for all the three different environments. Okay, so that we also need to make sure like if we are creating our bearer token for the development environment, so we are only consuming that token for the development APIs, not for the production or staging APIs. It won't be working until we are passing the same configuration details. Okay, so we need to see this here. So this is the key and issuer, this is the audience. So these are the same as we like we implemented for the start like creating the Jwt token. Okay, so the same key will be that from the appsetting.json. So this has been configured. Authorization middleware has been configured. So we need to inject the this authorization to here in services pipeline. Okay, so see how we injected here. So use authentication only I injected because authorization was already there. So that we need to inject in our CRMS API. So let's authorization is there. So put here authentication. So authentication has been injected in our service APIs. Okay. So the next is we need to update the injected authorized attribute. Definitely we will be putting. So let's put it and see. Okay. So before that we need to update the middleware. I think then we can properly do that. So Swagger middleware we also need to update. Like we had this like Swagger UI earlier implementation, but we need to make it workable for the bearer token. So that we need to update here. So let's see what the changes we did for the Swagger. So this is the Swagger middleware at Swagger Gen. So so this has been earlier in CRMCP. You can see this is already there. If I have a console, yes, you can see here. This Milk Swagger is already implemented, but this is not workable for bearer token. So that we need to make sure like our Swagger API has also been updated for accepting the bearer tokens. So let's. I'm also explaining what it is doing. So this is the default configuration, like we can find anywhere. So it's not making the big deal. But what it is doing, I can show you this. So this is the security scheme request we created, and we pass the security scheme request to the security definition. Security scheme, you can understand this way, like what are the security mechanism we are going to use for the Swagger. Okay. So we already like told the Swagger like we are going to use Jwt security mechanism. So the same way like Swagger will configure the UI to get like accept the bearer token and like pass the same way the bearer token to the APIs. Okay, so I'll also show you like in a postman how we are passing the bearer token, but that mechanism is not available in Swagger. Like Swagger is only showing the like only those parameters we are which are getting accepted as an input. Okay, like if we are creating a request for the API, so if request is accepting three parameters, so Swagger will only asking for a three parameters. It will not ask a fourth parameters from you. Okay, so on that case, like how we need to um, pass the authorization token in a Swagger, that we need to like take care. Okay, so that's why we understood like we can pass this like bearer token in this format, like in a security mechanism. So okay, so I just went through some blocks and found the mechanism how can we pass the Swagger like bearer token to the Swagger for the authentication purpose. So then I found this mechanism scheme. Okay, security scheme. So I updated here this middleware for the Swagger also. So once we update this middleware from here, so we would be Swagger would be able to understand, okay, so API are accepting a bearer token, so we need to like understand what is the bearer token and how we can be pass this bearer token to the API. So Swagger will be started accepting the bearer token after this implementation. Okay, so we also updated the Swagger middleware. So Swagger middleware is also updated. So what is the next is pending? So uh, let's start. Authorized attribute that we need to implement. Okay. So controllers. We have user detail controller. So you can see here get user is the get user details. Get user details. Okay. So there is no authorized attribute. So that we need to pass here. Okay. So if it is not, we need to install the dependency. Okay, so if we are implementing this attribute in this API only, it means this API will only accepting the bearer token right now. Okay, other APIs are not accepting. Okay, so we need to make sure all the APIs requiring a bearer token, so I'm passing it to our all APIs so that no other one can access the API. In case if you wanted to get out of this bearer token dependency, you can just backslash double backslash, it means it's just commented and it will not ask you for the bearer token. Okay, so get user. So now the authorization middleware updated, authorization Swagger middleware updated. We injected the dependency in services, middleware dependency in services. We updated the authorized attribute. Now let's see how it is working for our CRMS API. Okay, so it's loading. You can see here authorized is coming. Okay, authorized button is coming. So we can click on this button. We can put the bearer token and we can authorize our API. So firstly, we need to fetch the token. So we already have created a create get user token API. So just pass the authenticated detail so that user can be authenticated properly and send us the token. Okay, so we already have shown you how to create the token, so let's try it out. ss@gmail.com. This user is already there in database, so we don't need to worry about. Execute it and see, we did not use the authorized keyword here for this API, so this will not ask for the token. It's taking a time. I'm a little bit confused. Okay, some debugger is there. Okay, continue. Debuggers are there. That's just taking a time. Okay, so the token has been created successfully. Okay, you can see the token is here. So just copy this token. User have been validated successfully. Token got generated. Okay, so just copy this token. Put here. Cancel. Authorize. Put here to put the token here and close the box and go for our user controller. Get user details by ID. Try it out. Put ID is 1 and execute it. You can see response is coming properly. Okay, so like my means token validation part is also implemented properly. Okay, so let's see if we are not. So I already shown you like if we are not passing the token, so it will not be like working properly. So if you wanted to understand what the things are going there when we are hitting the API with the token, earlier how it was accepting and now what are the changes have been implemented here. So where we use the authorized keyword, where is this? This is the authorization controller. No, need to see user controller. Okay, so let's see what are details are coming when we are jumping, like getting into the you get user details by ID with the authorization. Okay, so what the details we can see here. In this way, I think we cannot see the details. What are the details here? But if we have a net, okay, so we are using a browser now, so we can see. Okay, let me complete it. We can see again. Okay, so where this is the browser. Okay, function and ftool, so devtool will get open. Okay, so you can go on a network. Okay, so what network is doing, like it's recording all the API communication, all the backend communication is happening. Okay, so firstly clear it out, so there is no communication. So okay, so let's see it. How can we see? Execute now. Okay, so that call has been sent. So we can see here in network, you can see this call has been sent by the Swagger. Okay, this is still pending. It's fetching, is still fetching. So we wanted to see the details, headers. Okay, so yes, see, you can see authorization token is going there with the authorization keyword. Earlier it was not going, but here it is going authorization token. Okay, so like authorization token has been sending and security is enabled. Like no one directly can like introduce this API. Firstly he has to go for the security, proper security authentication authorization, then only he can like get the access of the API. Okay, so I also show you like if we are not passing, so how the API call is going. So this has been completed. Okay, so authorization is not accepting the bearer token. So let me show you how authorization API is communicating. Function ftool, network is blank, hit execute. Okay, so we did not use the toku. It's like debugger, so it directly got the response. So what we send here in request and response both are there. So you can see there is no bearer token or authorization keyword is attached here in secure like headers. Okay, there is no authorization keyword because we are not passing here any authorization. You can see there is no. This is a response. Okay, not so don't be currently it is sending the authorization keyword because we logged here. Okay, we are already logged here the authorization, so it is sending default. But if we are not logging here, so it will not send any authorization kind of thing. You can see I can rerun it and show you. It is happening. Is the link where it is. Okay, so currently no authorization like bearer token is given here. So if you hitting this API without this authorization provided, you won't be able to you won't be see any authorization keyword there. And if it is coming, so it will be coming as a blank. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, function F12. So there is no communication on the back end. So execute it. You can see this token has been. See, there is no authorization keyword, and if it is there, there should not be a token. There is no. This is the payload. Okay, the details we are passing, and see, there is no authorization keyword with the bearer token. There is no authorization keyword. So like if we are not putting the authorization details here in this section, so there will not be any bearer token will get passed. Okay, so this will work properly without the token for those API which are not using the authorization attribute. So if we wanted to consume the APIs which are using the authorization attribute, so we need to pass the bearer token here. Okay, so that's been configured properly for our APIs. So I think you understood what we are going to do for this session. So we have successfully implemented and validated JWT token security mechanism in our API. So that's a great thing, um, great learning thing. So I hope guys you understood all the things properly. If you have any question, you are not understanding anything better, so you can just put me there in a chat or you can ask me separately. Okay, so thank you so much for the watching, and we see you on the next video with the new content. Okay, have a great day. Bye.